Welcome to this Tutor to You Sociology topic video on gender and crime, focusing on hegemonic masculinity. James Messerschmidt suggested that one of the reasons for the overrepresentation of males within crime statistics is due to the nature of males being socialized into behaviors that are more likely to lead to deviating from the norms and values of society, and therefore into criminality. Messerschmidt approached this from a social rather than a physiological angle, suggesting that gender was a social construction and not defined by biological traits. He argued that the dominant form of socialization for males, what he called hegemonic masculinity, led them to behave in ways that would lead them into conflict, particularly with other males with similar characteristics, and that this would subsequently lead to criminal behaviours. Whilst defining hegemonic masculinity, Messerschmidt suggested that males were socialized into a set of expected behaviours and reactions to the behaviours of others. Males are socialized into being providers for the family and protecting those that they love, which in turn could lead to criminal behaviour if their opportunities for providing are blocked in some way. And here we can see links to both strain theory and subcultural theories. Males are also socialized into being dominant, particularly physically, with physical strength being valued over intellect, and this can create forms of conflict, not only with their partners, but with others who challenge their assertion of dominance. Messerschmidt also suggested that the dominant form of masculinity was to promote a heterosexual image, and this often bordered on misogynistic behaviour and a belief that men should be dominant over women. According to Messerschmidt, males are not only socialised into this version of masculinity by their fathers, but also by the media. The portrayal of males through fictional media sources such as film and television is of the tough-talking, no-nonsense hard man, able to dominate their opponents both physically and through being emotionally limited, often only displaying anger or revenge. This is typical of the Hollywood action genre, with stars like Vin Diesel, The Rock and Jason Statham being seen as the ideal man. Young males in particular are bombarded with these images, and these behaviours are often reinforced through these men being perceived as attractive to women, for their toughness and their willingness to take risks. But how does this cause crime? According to Messerschmidt, being socialised into hegemonic masculinity leads males to indulge in risk-taking behaviour, whilst also reacting with physical force to perceived challenges to their dominant position. Now we can apply these behaviours across the specification, with male pupils reacting to being perceived to be subordinate to teachers, and therefore react and form anti-school subcultures. In work, being seen as subordinate to a manager, particularly one whose skills are based upon intellect rather than strength, can be perceived as a threat to male autonomy. And in family life, with Dobash and Dobash amongst others stating that domestic violence is often the result of a woman challenging the man's authority in either the public or private sphere. Those socialised into hegemonic ideas of masculinity are also socialised into a typical set of reactions, and according to Messerschmidt, this often leads to conflict and deviant behaviours. Now we can apply this elsewhere, in particularly focusing on young males, often from working class backgrounds, who are socialised into these hegemonic masculine norms and values. With limited opportunities to pursue intellectual pathways, they turn to physicality in order to achieve. Now sometimes this is achieved through sports such as football and boxing, while for others, risk-taking behaviours are often the only form of demonstrating their masculinity to their peers. Now this leads to forms of non-utilitarian crime such as joyriding, petty theft and trespass. It can also lead to gang cultures, with males looking to assert their dominance over others. Furthermore, the association of heterosexuality and physicality can explain why laddish subcultures in schools use homophobic slurs against those who achieve academically, whilst education's rejection of physical strength over intellect leads to the development of anti-school subcultures. In evaluating Messerschmidt's ideas, it's important to note the changing nature of masculinity in contemporary society. Males are encouraged to show intellect, sensitivity, and compassion for others. However, some may argue that this socialization is more likely to occur in the middle rather than the working classes. The concept of hegemonic masculinity also explains the conflict between some males and concepts such as feminism, with those vocal in their opposition to feminism seeing it as a challenge to their authority and masculinity. A final evaluation is that the concept of hegemonic masculinity can be seen as a part of toxic masculinity, in that the reactions of those socialized into demonstrating hegemonic behaviours are more likely to display toxic behaviours as a result of their socialization, and this could potentially result in further social issues, such as mental health, imprisonment, and limited opportunities in contemporary society. That concludes this Tutor to You Sociology topic video looking at gender and crime, focusing on hegemonic masculinity. Thanks for watching.